Hello, and welcome to my universe. So, let's see. This one is, in a state of I just largely need to finish it. So, yeah, let's get on that. I think last time I started trying to do the little... Oops. There we go. The little shape underneath her. And... there we go. Sorry, just... getting comfortable. It's important to be comfortable when you're trying to draw, and all my stuff is like in the wrong place. I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, but yeah, I just want to get the shape going, so I think that'll be the first thing that I do. I remember I tried it last time, and it did not go very well. It just felt something about it felt very strange to me. So here we are trying again, and I'm not going to trust myself this time. So I'm going to duplicate the layer and keep a backup in case I mess it up. Alright, then I see the red part of her skirt and stuff kind of overlapping a few areas there, so I'm just going to hide it for now. I'll add it back in after I have this all done, and I can go in and fix the mask and stuff. Oh yeah, this seems like a good place to start for today. And then, it's just a matter of solving the body here. And I'm also considering if I want to make the mouth a little bit smaller. I do kind of like the really big, unhinged smile, but every time I look at it, something's a little off their mouth. Or her head. I swear, every time I look at it, I just feel that way. And I'm wondering if the mouth is too big. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to have an expression that says, say, ah. Since, she's feeding you cake. So, I don't know. Choices, I'll make them later. Let's go make all this straight. Oh, that's right. I have a purple in there. All right. So I did post the picture that I tried to finish very quickly, or rather that I drew for many a long hour on Friday to try to finish. So that's up like everywhere, and the time-lapse is out in my shorts. If you are interested in seeing that, I am trying to post 2 every week, and so far I've been doing it for 2 weeks. So it's been working out, and I haven't felt like especially burnt out. Yesterday, maybe a little bit aside, since I did push pretty hard on Friday, but, I took a break, and did my usual Sunday break to play a game with my husband, and now I'm feeling great. So far I'm thinking that this is actually sustainable. With how Inktober generally went, I was actually worried about whether or not it would be. But no, just knowing that I don't have to post it every day, and I don't have to kind of go with my first instinct. If something is not quite working, I'll actually have time to fix it up and turn it into something that I like a little bit more. Just that is enough. It's enough to make me feel a little bit stressed out, or less stressed out about the whole thing. So, this is feeling a pretty alright. So, here's hoping I can draw many a thing this year. Honestly, it's been kind of fun, and I'm happy to support this tiny VTuber company that I like so far. I do like Variance Project. I like what they're trying to do. Or at least I like the idea that they're pushing. So, but we'll see how it is in practice as they keep going and ramp up and all that. It generally takes some time to settle into these things. And I'm really, really curious to see where they go. But yes, please give me my theater kid energy. I want all the theater kid energy. I think Bibi has theater kid energy. Most of Saga does. So I ended up liking them. someday maybe I'll have time to actually watch more of them, but who knows? Okay. But yeah, okay, this is going a bit better. Let me see. I'm gonna hide her arm for a second there. And the spoon, just so I can know where this should be coming up. So this is gonna be covered. I'm not gonna make it very particular or anything, but I need to know where these hidden parts are turning and whatnot in order to be able to draw it properly. And this will actually make it a lot easier to do than to attempt to guess. I want a smaller brush here. This one's a little too big. Okay, there we go. This is a little more manageable. And then, since I talked about how I think that my current pace of trying to post 2 shorts a week is sustainable, I figured, you know, I might as well talk a little bit about how I think I know that. And what makes it feel different than Inktober to me, because Inktober, the 2 years I've done it, by about day, I'm going to say 10 or so, sometimes a little bit sooner. I mean, I've only done it twice, but so I'm not sure if I can really say that, but that's generally when I start feeling it. By about day 10 or so, I'm already starting to feel a little bit unhappy. I think is probably the best way to put it. Like, I like the drawing, I like being able to do stuff, but ultimately, because I don't have very long to draw every day, so I kind of have to go with my first instinct, and if my first instinct is kind of mid, then there's not very much I can do about it. Because, I mean, with what I'm doing right now, not only can I potentially make changes as I go a little further, like if my first instinct is something that's kind of mid, then I can change it up, I can scrap it, draw a different picture, like it's all good. But with Inktober, not only did I have to finish the picture, I had to finish it quickly enough that I could put together the short in the same day. And while making the short is not exactly time-consuming, it does mean that I don't get to sit on it. Because I've said several times on stream that when I'm drawing something, I like to take a little bit of time. I like to sleep on it and take another look at it the next day. Just because that's a really good way to spot small errors that I might not have noticed otherwise. And I cannot do that with my Inktober drawings. And if something just, you know, doesn't quite work, this happens a lot, actually, where I'm like, okay, this face feels a little bit lopsided, but I've got, you know, 3 hours tops to work on this, potentially. Like, sometimes I can draw a little bit in the evening, but sometimes my kids want attention. So the only time I can really guarantee it is just a few hours before stream starts. And that always felt really bad to me. And I think what feels bad will vary from person to person, but I can tell you that if you have to do something that feels bad, you will feel the creative burnout much sooner. Much, much sooner. So here I'm doing something similar, but I'm aligning it in such a way that I give myself a little bit more flexibility. And so it just doesn't feel as bad to me. And it could be amazing how big a difference that makes. Just the ability to sleep on it for 1 day. Just that has made a huge difference in how I feel about things. I think it's pretty wild, just how big of a difference that made. Just knowing that, okay, if this one doesn't work, or I really feel like it needs another week of work, then I can upload it next week and just do a quick doodle or something. Because I'm not beholden to a theme or anything, I can just, you know, do something different. And it'll be fine. That makes a huge difference to me. I think it's also why I don't generally get burnt out on streaming overall. Because for the most part, my stream ideas are still pretty dang simple. And I'm still just largely kind of doing what I feel like, and it's great. So it's pretty easy for me to convince my brain to show up every day and just do what I can. There's been a few days where I just haven't really felt like it, but I do it anyway, and it's been fine. And I generally feel pretty okay when I'm done, so I do think that just this isn't always an option when it comes to people with like art-based jobs. But if you're a hobbyist or a beginner learning, I think that keeping this in mind can help prevent the burnout, and that if you're doing things that you are just not enjoying because you feel like you have to, you know, you gotta slot in some time to just have fun. Or do something that really, really resonates. And I mean, it is possible that it is studying. But I remember that there was someone here that asked me, how do you get through anatomy studies? And my suggestion was, don't. Save it for later, it's fine. I don't think anatomy is a beginner topic anyway. So I kind of hate the way people talk about art sometimes to beginners. Like, the only thing you should be doing as a beginner is trying to get good. Like, who cares? I guarantee that the beginner probably cares more about getting good than anybody looking. But I have been in some communities where people just get horribly offended by anyone that's even remotely happy with what they do, and it is just terrible. Weirdest thing. I think it's just because the people in those couple of communities I'm thinking of were probably a little insecure about their art. And thus somebody worse being happy is like the worst thing that can happen to them. It's... I don't know, man. That's one form of creative burnout. I always feel it really hard with Inktober. I'll probably still do Inktober again this year. Probably. I think it's just a nice little community thing, even if I'm quiet and lurky and super anxious about everything I do. I think it's a good way to try to force myself out of my bubble a little bit, so I'll probably still do it. I'll just, prepare for the inevitable tiredness and my brain going "Arr," because it just hates leaving things less than perfect. Or, who knows? Maybe by October of this year, I'll feel better about it. I do think study is all well and good, but if your brain is in a state where it wants to draw, but you just can't bring yourself to do it, to me, that is a sign that what you are doing is not what you want to be doing. And sometimes you just gotta go with what you want to do. It's okay. This is why I'm kind of glad to offer a slightly different perspective on improvement there, because, like I said, I barely did any studies. I really don't study very much at all. Or if I do, it's specifically to incorporate something into a new illustration that I want to make. And then I study and make the illustration I want to make at the same time. That happens sometimes. But for the most part, I just do the thing, and I'm not really worried about it. I drew a lot of pictures, and with each one, I just thought about, okay, I want to pay attention to this, or I have this idea that I want to do, and I want to pay attention to how that happens. What will emphasize that? What makes this fireball look really hot? What makes this expression look really peaceful? Or something like that. So, but sitting down and drawing 50 boxes, or sitting down and drawing a bunch of hands in different poses, nah, I never did that. Maybe I would have improved faster if I did. I don't really care, because I think if I did do that, or was just so fixated on doing those things, that I probably would have stopped drawing, so... It's a moot point. You gotta keep up with what your brain can handle. Let's see, that white part there. Okay. I've actually heard this at other professions too. Like, there are people out there that are really, really passionate about being doctors. And what they hate more than anything has nothing to do with their job, really. Like, they can work with patients all day and be totally fine. But the second they have to go call an insurance company, they want to die. And I hear stories like that a lot. So I don't think it's an experience unique to art. I think that, people like doing things. But sometimes you just gotta deal with some absolutely terrible stuff, and it ruins anything that you'd want to do. And absolutely results in the burnout. I've actually seen some videos, I was talking about this with my husband the other day, of people working at McDonald's, and I look at it and I'm just like, this part doesn't look too bad. If they didn't have to deal with people treating them badly, and like they're not worth their salary, and like they can be fired and replaced at any moment if they act even slightly out of line, or any of those terrible things that we do to people in customer service positions like that. I don't think that anyone would really have a problem working at fast food. Because, I mean, it doesn't exactly look exciting or super stimulating or anything, but it doesn't look that bad. The work itself, it's just a lot of the stuff on the outside. That's how I felt about my job too, to an extent. I don't know. Like, if I absolutely had to, I'd get another programming job. Or something else in software development, but I guess for me, there's a little bit more existentialism into it now, where it took me a long time to kind of process what happened at my last job. It was really bad. My boss just decided he didn't like me, and it resulted in some pretty bad things happening. Because he was in a position where he could make my life pretty miserable. But the actual programming part wasn't too bad. But there were some parts about it that actually were pretty bad. It took me a while to kind of process all the emotions in there, figure out what happened and how I feel about it and all that. It was pretty hard. But I remember the moment. There were two big moments where I was just like, yeah, this is kind of terrible. One was a pretty straightforward one, where anytime that there was a remotely annoying ticket for me to deal with, initially I was doing quality assurance. So, for the most part, I was writing automated tests for it, but sometimes I'd go in and do the manual testing when I was caught up on automation. And, anytime there was an annoying ticket, suddenly everybody got really, really interested in playing ping pong. And, leaving it to me, basically. Because they knew that I would take any annoying ticket that they didn't want to do. And there was a moment where I saw one of the other testers, one that was, you know, one of the dedicated manual testers. Because we still had those at that point. I'm not actually sure if the company does have dedicated manual testers anymore, but yeah, he looked at it. I saw him open the ticket. He sat right behind me, so I was able to look at what he was doing through a reflection in the glass pretty easily. And I saw him look at the ticket. He opened it up. I saw a big sigh, and he went up to go play ping pong. So I had something else I could do that day, so I did. He came back, he saw the ticket was still there, and he got up and went to the bathroom. And about 2 hours later, since I still hadn't taken the ticket at that point, he went up to get some coffee and kept finding a way to stall until the end of the day. And even after about 3 or 4 hours, he did not take that ticket. He got promoted. So, he got promoted to a management position. So, that was, that was a moment for me. And then the other one was, we were doing a project, and we were trying to get it done fast so we could be the first to market on this particular thing. And there, you know, I was a tester at that point. I had all my test cases ready for the automated tests for once I knew what the interface was going to look like and stuff. I had all my test cases written. I was ready. I just had to wait for the thing to be developed now. And somebody was annoyed that I wasn't doing anything and was claiming that, you know, me not having my hands moving 24/7 was going to be a bottleneck. I don't think so. But Sure. So rather than let me have a break or putting me on some other useful work, they had me write an automated test that went and clicked every single button in our test suite. Given I wrote probably a good 70% of the test suite, between me and one other person, we wrote the whole thing, and he was doing more of the back-end stuff that would make it run efficiently, whereas I was writing more of the tests. We got it, rather than saying, hey, we already click like all the buttons, as long as the main test suite runs fine, you can bet that all the buttons will have been clicked, because our test coverage is actually quite high now. And he just wouldn't have it, so he wanted me to write a test that would click all the buttons. So I was like, okay. And so I did it. And it was a terrible test. It took 8 hours to run. This is absolute nonsense, by the way. You do not want your test to take 8 hours to run. They should take probably about 30 seconds tops. That should show you the magnitude and how stupid this is. And it was retired within about 4 months because it was terrible and just lagged the entire test suite. So, yeah. I actively made things worse by, complying and doing that, and it felt really bad to me. And then when it came to the actual thing itself, I saw that, how do I say, this particular feature that we were making had a couple. Okay, let me back up a bit. The software that we're using, we had 3 price tiers. So there was your essential, so the kind of pared down version, super bare bones. Then there was standard, which had all the basic features, and deluxe, which had some extra nice bells and whistles. Most of what we were making for this one was for deluxe customers, and that's fine, of course. I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with having different pricing tiers. But rather than kind of being straightforward and honest about that this was largely meant for deluxe customers, they still let the standard and essential customers see it. But instead of being able to actually get data and stuff, it was a glorified ad saying upgrade in order to see this. And then they had some other ads for some other services that we offered. And I said, they're not going to like this. This looks kind of bad. But, nobody listens to a flunky. So they went forward to it. Forward with it, and then were surprised when their customers complained. Good news, I think the shape looks great, so I didn't even need my backup. It's all as well. So yeah, they were surprised when customers complained and all that, and when I was done with all of this, even the deluxe customers found it kind of lacking, I guess you could say. So even when all was said and done, I looked at this. I looked at the features that I got to test, which is mostly, those annoying ads and stuff. And I was like, my entire contribution to this project made everything worse. And that just felt terrible to me. Everything about my entire contribution to this project literally made everything worse. It would have been better if I had done nothing. I mean, if I had done nothing, they would have gotten someone else to do it, of course. That's just kind of how it is. What is that then? There's like something there. But I turned off... Is it from the spoon? Okay, there we go. Okay, mystery solved. I can go back to my rant about my job. So, yeah, I just realized that everything I did made everything worse, and I hated it. And, like, I mean, I had tried to do something about it. I had spoken up, but, you know, nobody listened to me. No one ever particularly does, and... I don't think they really have to or anything. I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about, of course. And I'm sure that the people that actually do proper market research and stuff know more than I do. But nonetheless, when I looked at it, all I could see was everything I did made life worse for the people working internally, that made life worse for the customers, and everything. And when I went and looked at the rest of the world here, I just feel like if I, you know, the state of video games, the state of the enshittification of software in general, and just how all that's been going, I just felt like if I got another job doing software development, that would be my life. My life would be everything I do makes things worse for the people I'm supposed to help. And, I just kinda don't want to do it. So, I'd say more than anything, that was probably what bothered me, and I don't think anything would make me burn out harder than just knowing that everything that I'm making is actively making things worse. I would just be perpetually sad. So, I get the feeling that if I do re-enter the workplace, I might go for a career change. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but it's entirely possible that I just won't, and I'll just, you know, donate bodily fluids instead. I think that might be enough to make the world a better place. Here's hoping that, you know, my blood and plasma can do something good for people. So, that's kind of where I've been at, and you know what? I think I am happy with this shape. Burnout is an interesting subject, though. Just because it's not... Working hard is generally not going to make you burn out. It's about making you do things you hate. And I do think that if I just didn't feel like I was in a state of everything I do here makes things worse, or my boss is going out of his way to make the social aspect of working with people just impossible, that I probably could have stayed at that company forever. The actual work wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. I wouldn't do it if they weren't paying me, but they were paying me, so I could have lived with that for basically ever. But it was those other niggling things. And when it came to Inktober stuff, I liked drawing. Like that drawing is great. But I didn't really like drawing things that I didn't really care about that much. I guess I've decided to do this skirt now. That's fine. But yeah, I just didn't really like drawing things that I didn't care about that much. I didn't like feeling like I had to upload every day. I doubt I could ever get into a daily upload schedule like that. Twice a week is feeling very doable. It gives me a lot of flexibility. And if worst came to worst... Does it? Yeah, kind of, I suppose. But Oh yeah, I think I could the twice weekly schedule is going well, so I think that is very much sustainable. And hello there, Tito. Welcome back. I just want to get the angle on this part of the dress just right. There we go. I am getting near the end here. Normally I do her upper body first, but that looks scary, so I decided to do the skirt. Like everything is overlapping everything up there, and it's very, very scary. Okay, how many little things are there? Like 3? Okay. So I want to make sure I kind of get the perspective on this kind of interesting. So this first cross is going to be big. And then I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and a little bit thinner. How do they cross? Yeah. I got it right here. They cross just kind of outside. Okay, no, that angle's not right. I need it to be a little bit flatter than what I've got here in order for the perspective to look right. But this should center further forward, or send this part of the skirt further back as it gets closer to the bottom. Yeah, there we go. I think that's doing what I want. And then the rest is just a matter of putting some lines on the red parts. And you know, I can see it. I'm not sure if their bodies are quite as angular. Like, Aditi in particular is very squishy. She's very round. But in terms of the shading, yes. I can absolutely see it. Okay, and then I have to decide how much shadow I want to put under this arm here. I think I want to do a lot. I really want to push her upper body forward and her lower body further away. And just absolutely covering things in shadows and darkness is the way to do that. Yeah, this isn't straight, is it? Okay, let's make this a little straighter. Line tool, save me! Okay, there we go. And you know what? I'm just gonna use the line tool to put the shadows in too. Let's just be incredibly lazy. Okay, there we go. Now from there, yeah, I do think I want very, very thick shadows from the arm here. Like, I don't even think that what I have here is enough. I think what I have here is enough, but not like on this side. So I'm gonna get that first. There we go. And that'll kind of determine what I want from over here. So we'll just have everything nice and black through there. And I do think I would like to curve it upwards somewhat. To separate her from the shape just a little bit here. Yeah, there we go. And a little while ago, I was just kind of musing on creative burnout, which is why I was talking about Inktober. Because I remember feeling the creative burnout really, really hard during Inktober. And I was trying to figure out why. And, basically how to avoid that. So this way I can hopefully update my shorts a little bit more consistently. I've been trying to push out 2 time lapses every week. And so far I've done it for 2 weeks and it hasn't felt bad. So I do think it is sustainable. And I think a lot of it just came down to figuring out why Inktober made me feel a little bit off. Oh, there we go. I think that's good for her skirt. Yeah, let's go ahead and get the frills on her shoulders now. I'm just thinking about how I want to do that, because right now, these feel a little bit small compared to the ones I have on this side, but I kind of like the way that the ones on this side look. So I think I just need to make a few of these just a little bit bigger. I can't really do that on this one. This one is like already almost right up against the edge. So that's about as far as that one can go. But I can mess around with some of the other ones. Oops. This drawing's also been kind of funny for me because I have found myself compared to drawing some of the other stuff that I've been working on stream, I get tired far more quickly doing this one. Because I do think that this one is very much stretching the limits of what I can do. The perspective is weird, there's lots of weird angles, and I am having to fight my instincts to try to keep the lines straighter. I had a drawing that I kind of wanted to do in this style. I was thinking about doing it off stream at some point for one of my weekly uploads. But at least as I am now, I don't think that's a good idea. But I don't think that's a problem. I can save it for when I get a little bit more skilled with this style. I'll just keep practicing on stream. I've got... Since Anya debuted, I now have 4 more members of Fae Saga to draw in this style, so... I still need to watch Anya's debut. I wasn't able to do it yesterday. I had stuff. But I already know that I'm pretty much always just going to be a VOD watcher, so... You know, it is what it is. I find it pretty difficult to get to pretty much any live stream live. That good? No, I think that's a little long. Let me start letting it go down around here instead. Which in turn makes this one a little bit long, so I'm gonna have to send it back up a little bit sooner. Okay, but this looks fine. This one doesn't look long. Okay. Give her head back. Now that I can kind of see what's going on there. I think I want this one to fluff up a little harder. I remember last time I started trying to draw these frills. And, I just realized that I just did not like where they were. So I ended up redrawing basically the whole thing. Such is life. Such is life. And then I didn't want to render them because I didn't trust myself to have them right. And you know what? I'm glad that I didn't, because I made a bunch of changes just now, and I think that they look so much better. Yeah, I dig it. I think her arm looks fine here. Just taking a look. So yeah, I guess I'll get her little poofy shoulders here, and then it's time to dig into that. That is the only way I can describe it, because it's okay. I think half of that is just gonna be black. I'll be all right. Let's hide the trim for a second. Don't want to. I don't want to be thinking about the trim while I'm trying to figure out everything else here. Okay. Sometimes I look at this and I'm just like, I feel like there's something a little bit off about her head and maybe some other proportions and stuff, but I, for the life of me, can't figure it out. I have probably fixed her head a little bit at nearly every stream, and I don't know, when I look at it now, it's like I feel something's a little bit off, but I don't know what. Like, I look at the measurements between things. I know this eye's a lot bigger than this eye, but that's, like, intentional, and I don't think it looks bad that way. That's why you can see this pupil is definitely way bigger than this one, and stuff like that. I think her hair looks pretty alright. I don't think her head feels fat anymore. I feel like this braid is coming off the right place. It looks like it's, kind of rolling up the back of her head there and going up like that, like it should. Maybe this one not so much. Oh, is that it? You know, if that's it. I haven't done anything below there yet, so if I'm gonna try to move it, it should be now. Okay, let's do it. So hey, viewers, thanks for being my rubber duck and just letting me kind of ramble and try to and make me explain what I think is wrong, because, you know, it actually does help me figure it out. You have to remember, I am a programmer, and in the programming world, we have a technique that is highly regarded, and it's known as the rubber duck method. Let's see, I'm gonna have to move her hair too. So with the rubber duck method, what you do is you just go through and explain your code to a rubber duck. Actually, I don't think that's on the hair layer. You just go and explain your code to a rubber duck, and it will help you solve your problems. It does not need to talk back. It does not need to understand. It just has to make you explain. I have done that with many a thing. Oh, it's super effective. It's amazingly effective. All you have to do is talk to a rubber duck, and everything will become clear. And you will be able to debug so many problems just by talking to a rubber duck. So yes, I thank you guys for being my rubber duck today, while I try to figure out why her head does not feel right. Before I go and render whatever the hell this is supposed to be. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. When I say that I am just grateful that people come, even if you don't talk very much or at all, I mean it. Your presence makes a difference. Yeah, and I think once I reattach her hair here, that's gonna be great. Okay, let's do it. Let's make it so her hair's not floating anymore. My God. A bunch of random stuff down there. You know what? I'm just gonna invert the color of the hair for a second. Oh, I can't even do that, huh? Okay. Yay. I can see. But rubber duck methods, I do think, works for more than just programming. It's just programming context is where I heard it for the first time. But it is very strong. So if you're running into trouble with something that you're drawing and you just don't know what to do, you know, try talking to your rubber ducky. And just explain it as best you can. When I was in school, I would often do this to my dad. Because he's a computer guy too. So I'd go ask him for help, and I'd just start trying to explain what the problem was. And before I was even done, I'd say, "Oh, that's the problem. Okay, thanks." And he didn't even have to say a word. Beautiful. I think I'm gonna leave the shadows in the same spot. I think they look fine over there. Just because these bits of hair are behind her. So it makes sense that they'd be more in shadow. I'm gonna add a couple more strands just because I can. Okay. Yeah, and now her head feels less lopsided to me. I think that's all it was. Nice. I'm wondering if I moved it a little bit too far over, but I'm gonna have to think about this for a second. Yeah, I think it is a little bit too far over. Let me push it back. Now that I have the hair in place and can actually see what the heck I just did. Highlights. Ribbon. No, ribbon. There we go. Okay, we're moving back a little. But it's okay, I have a nice little transparency mask back there, so it doesn't matter how I move it. It will still wrap around her head nicely. And now I can kind of see what it is that I'm doing. And let's see, her head is tilted this way. So I think I want to lower this just a little. Yeah, I think right about here looks a little bit better. And yeah, her head feels less lopsided to me. Something happened to my highlights. Or is this just more Krita bugging out? What are you? I was like, why are the highlights not showing over here? Where did they go? Were there even highlights there? No, I don't think I put any highlights over there. Okay, so that's probably just a visual bug. Let me... Yeah, visual bug. Krita does this sometimes and I hate it when I use strokes. And trying to fix it is making it way worse. Okay, I guess I just deal with it. I know it's a bug. I know they're not real. They can't hurt me. So I'm gonna go down here and just pretend that never happened. Okay. We're gonna go back to rendering the apron. We're going to ignore the illusory stroke before I have a real stroke. Yeah, that sounds like a good thing to avoid. So this I feel like I can render just entirely now. I'm feeling pretty good about it at this point. And I'm doing something a little different than what I normally do, since this entire thing is just so deep in shadow, I'm just only outlining the edge. You know what? One more thing I want to try here. I want to put, like, tiny little lines digging in there. Make it a little bit more clear that they are frills. I actually think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I dig that. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of those for now because they're not in the right place, but I will put them in once I know where they're gonna go. Okay. So, I think I can feel pretty good about cleaning all this up now. But I feel like I've gotten through all the hardest parts. I mean, I describe that mass of lines and mess in the middle as just that because I don't know what to make of it, but I really don't actually think it's going to be that hard to render. It's just very intimidating and very scary. My brain just looks at it and starts screaming, and I have to say, you know what? I don't know what you're overreacting about. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. But you know, brains being what they are, it doesn't believe me. And so it's just sitting there like panic. See, this is why I can only describe my brain as a separate entity from myself. Because I find that the way we think is not congruent. There are a lot of thoughts that go through my mind, and I'm just like, the heck are you talking about? This is one of those. This is why sometimes I wonder if I'm just a weird alien parasite that has inhabited the body of this random Earth girl, and it's all very bizarre. But you know, ever since I started thinking of my brain as a separate entity, it's actually been really nice because now I don't really have to listen to it, and it's great. I like not having to listen to it. Let's see, this is all one layer, right? Oh god, I'm afraid of turning off that layer though. But yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, basically, I just wanted to make sure that the frill shoulder thing here was connected to this part over her chest, and that it wasn't on a separate layer, and whether or not I should worry about drawing over it. Answer is, it's the same layer. I don't have to worry about drawing over it. I can do what I need to. But it is nice when you think of your brain as a separate entity. When you get thoughts in your head, you don't have to dwell on them or think that they're accurate. You can just kind of tell them to go away, or, you know, talk to your brain and just like, well, why do you think that, and how does that make you feel? Go full therapist mode on yourself. Very effective, actually. That's how I eventually figured out how to feel about my job being terrible to me that time a long time ago. And now I feel better about it. It's great. So easy. Well, no, it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And even now, I can still get caught up in stuff sometimes. I doubt I will ever be free from the woman moments. It's fine. I know what I am. Okay, that's right. I also wanted to add the little white lines through here. Just some little guys. Just to show where the lightest parts of this frill are going in. And how they connect to everything else. Okay. I don't actually know how these connect, but I think this looks nice, so I think it works. At the very least, I don't think it stands out as terrible. Okay. I will get that separating black line in a bit later. Right now, I just kind of want to get the frills themselves outlined, and I can see that I started outlining that one, so I'll do it in black and clean up the line after. I have been reflecting a lot on the kind of art that I think is cool. I have several different things that I really like, though, and it makes it hard to pick one. Pick one for me to do, you know? That's why I keep saying that I haven't. For the most part, I'm pretty okay with that. I'm pretty okay with trying lots of different things. But I think when it comes to picking something to practice, I gotta narrow it down a little at this point. Maybe a little. I mean... I'm silent because I don't know how to explain what is going on in my head, because my brain does not think linearly. It's always been an issue whenever I try to explain things. I kind of have to gather up all the thoughts and then figure out how to put them in order so people can actually know what the hell I'm talking about. Because I think most people want their brains and their explanations to be straight lines, but mine is more like a tangled maze of things that sometimes I'm not even aware of consciously. And so I make conclusions based on things out of left field. And while it's all very logical to me, often I'm not even aware why. So, but yeah, I've been a little unsatisfied with a lot of the stuff that I've been making lately. I think that's normal. I don't think it's really a bad thing, and I am not actually especially concerned about it. It, if anything, is probably just a sign that my art's gonna get better soon. But if I want to be practicing things, I probably shouldn't be going super scattershot. I should focus a little bit, so that this way I can try a bunch of things that would make things better. And I just think what makes things better for one style does not make them better for another one. So it all gets very complicated. So I've been trying to narrow down just a little bit of what I would like to be doing. And this is actually not just for drawing, it's also true of streaming content, because, you know, I do think that streaming it is an art form in and of itself. It's a performance art. And what I want to be doing there and all that kind of stuff. In this case, I'm mostly talking about the visual part, though. And, sometimes when I got too much going on, it can be hard to narrow things down, so I've been thinking more about what makes some of these simpler styles really nice, and what is it about my style that is interesting, and all of that. And I just think that a lot of what I do has very, very strong and noticeable shapes. I think I do shapes pretty well. And I'm generally particular about the kind of shapes that I use there. And I am thinking that I can do even more with that. Like, it occurred to me when I was drawing my off-stream illustration of Leia Memoria, the one that I uploaded the short of yesterday. So that one, not the one I'm doing on stream. Of just, you know, I'm putting this pattern on a teacup. I think it looks really good. I like these kinds of patterns. I like them a lot. Is there a way that I can draw entire illustrations based on these shapes and put these kinds of shapes into people instead of just patterns on teacups? So I kind of want to try that. And I think I'll do that at some point. I'm not sure when, but I would like to try it at some point. I already have plans for the next drawings that I'm gonna do once I finish Leia on stream. And of course, you know, this series, I'm already doing a lot of experience with that, and I really like it, so I'll be doing that, and I still have many more Phase Saga members to draw. And who knows, if I feel like doing it enough, maybe I'll just draw all, what, 36 talents now in Phase Connect? Who knows? I could probably get behind drawing every single one of them in this style. We'll see how I feel. Or if I just feel like doing something else once I finish Phase Saga here. But I've been thinking about stuff like that a lot, so I think something with cool patterns could also be kind of a stained glass adjacent kind of thing. And I think it could be really cool. So I think there's a part of me that wants to do a little bit more with some more accurate, I guess, more slightly realistic stuff. And then there's some part of me that just wants to throw it all out the window and strictly... Nah, I actually don't like that. Okay. Strictly do weird shapes. And it's kind of hard for me to choose which one I want to do. So knowing me, I probably won't, and I'll just do both. But that probably will slow down my growth somewhat, but I think I'm also kind of okay with this, so... I've always been kind of okay with it. It's a weird thing to say, but I've always known that if I did more individual studies, I probably would improve faster. But improvement is just not the only thing that I'm in for. I just like drawing pictures. And drawing disembodied torsos, because I want to learn how the torso and the shoulder connect. Just does not sound particularly interesting to me. Maybe the next time there comes a time where I want to draw, but I don't really have anything in particular I want to draw, that'll be a time to do some studies. That is like the only time ever I have ever done studies. It's a good time for it. It is, actually. Let's see. Yeah, I want more dark there. So, you know, we'll see where that goes. And as for streaming stuff, I do feel like art streams are largely Zatsudan with extra steps. But I also kind of feel like they don't have to. I have been thinking a lot about how to make better use of the live angle. It's just also really hard for me because I can't guarantee that I have chatters every stream. And so if I plan something that requires live participation, I'm not big enough that I can guarantee that, so it's always made me really hesitant to lean into it. This is not a criticism of anyone, by the way. I am okay with being background music. I have said that many a time. It was kind of my initial intention. But now that I'm here, and I'm realizing that I think live streams can be a little bit more than what I'm doing with it. It does make me think about things a lot. So I'd like to pull you guys into my various little universes someday. And whether I do it when I'm pretty sure that there's going to be people here, or I find a way where I can do it somewhat solo, be background music like I am now, well, that all remains to be seen. I'm going to have to stretch my creativity, but I think I can do it. It's been on my mind. Let's see, I think I'm actually just gonna put half of this one in shadow. I think that'll look nice. Keep some of that, back and forth, the black and white. I think it looks pretty cool, having all those things be kind of separated out. Basically, I've been thinking about art a lot in general. You know, like, why we make it, and what makes it good, what makes it not. Just all kinds of things. And, my initial... Yeah, the reason that I initially learned how to code things, I think this is the best way to put it. Why I became a programmer was because I wanted to make games. I did end up making some, but they're basically like forum role-playing games, not video games. That didn't really require any programming at all, but it's fine. I still really, really liked making them. I miss making them, if anything. So, I actually thought about interactive media a lot when I was in school and just in general, because I think games are cool, and I think I like to think about how they work and how they're put together, what they expect the player to be doing, and how the player interfaces with them, how they think about things, and what the game trains them to do and stuff like that. Just lots of little gameplay things. And I just started realizing that I could do the same with live streams. So it made me think about it a lot. And I have just always been very interested in interactivity with media. I think it is something that makes video games very special. Because in no other media, not in books, not in art, or anything like this, not at least in drawn art like this or sculptures, can you invite the player to experience the story that you've written? And experience it for themselves. Nothing is quite like video games in that regard. It is wild. It is great. And I actually don't think people are necessarily very good at utilizing it, but it is still just something that makes video games very special. And I do think that there is some room for that here, because I'm thinking in terms of other live performances So, theater. That's the big one for me, because I was very much a theater kid. But I think it also applies to things like dancing recitals or idol concerts and that kind of thing. But none of that, I think, has the same potential for interactivity that live streams do. So I'm just sitting here like, how? And honestly, I find it a little embarrassing to say, but I wasn't really thinking about it in those terms for a long time, and I just realized that I have these folds backwards. Yeah, this one isn't, it's wrapping around the shoulder. These ones are not facing that direction. We're not seeing the top of them, we're seeing the underside. Anyway, yeah, we're just seeing the underside of them here, so I actually want to handle the shading a little bit differently. I want it to be a bit more like this, where they're folding away from us. So I think a shape like this makes more sense. Oh, it's a little bit sad to erase stuff like that. I always wished that I could put more of my game analysis and design analysis into my gaming streams. Because I think about video games a lot, and how they do things I think is very interesting. But it's actually really hard to do it live. Especially when I'm playing a game that I haven't played before. To the point that, you know, sometime I might actually play a game that I've played before just so I can talk about what it's doing. And I think that could be actually kind of interesting. Let me go full game design nerd on here, but it would require a bit of preparation. I really want to go and find more people that I think are doing cool things with live streaming content. Because one of the major reasons that I actually bounced off of VTubers the first time I discovered them, and just wasn't super interested in watching them myself, was just because I felt like they relied a little bit too much on cute girls doing cute things, and I'm not super interested in that kind of thing. You know, being a woman and also married, I don't really need the parasocial relationship. And I feel like a lot of VTubers that play video games don't really care about video games. At best, they're like a fun diversion or a fun hobby, but they don't like really care about them. And I don't think very many even think about them in the same way that I would, but I just always wondered why these people that basically play video games for a living did that instead of focusing on the stuff that they seem to be more passionate about. So for most of Hololive, that'd probably be like music and that kind of thing. But it was all very strange to me, and still kind of is. But more and more, I'm starting to see people use the medium for stuff that they do genuinely enjoy. Like with Pippa just talking about weird stuff on the internet, or reading and laughing about Am I the Asshole posts on Reddit, and just general people being people. Like that's all very fun. Or a lot of people starting to break into musical theater or doing skits and stuff. That's all very fun. I think video games will probably always be there just because it's easy. So, I mean, this is exactly why I keep asking myself, what do I like and what do I want to be doing? Because this was something I started on a whim, but kind of ended up enjoying. So I would like to make the most of it. I barely even know what I'm talking about anymore, but this just tends to be how my mind operates. I don't think it necessarily even really has to know what's going on all the time. It's okay. I gotta fix that. That's gonna bother me if I don't fix it, like, literally right now. Please go away. Okay, are you just some bad masking? Or a spot that I didn't fill in properly in the hair? Okay, there we go. One thing I can tell you, I really, really do like drawing. I do. It's a very good time. And I don't know, I say and like I was going somewhere with that, but I don't know, I think that might be an understatement. I just like drawing. I would like to do it forever. Forever and ever. I just like making all these nice little scenes. At first, it all just started with me wanting to draw my characters, but lately, probably since, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, I have just been far more interested in drawing scenes. I don't like the angle of this one. I'm gonna draw it again. But yeah, I've just been way more interested in drawing scenes than just characters alone. I'm not sure why. I should think about that sometime. I don't know. Maybe I should ramble about it. Why do I like drawing scenes? I don't even know where to start. I don't think I can ramble about it yet. I really gotta think about that. Because that could probably tell me some stuff about where I want to go. I did think for a while about why I ended up liking streaming. When I got started, I wasn't really sure if I was going to. I actually found it reasonably likely that I wouldn't. But I just decided to try it anyway. Okay, and at least on the art front, yeah, that's everything except the terrible mass in the middle that I don't fully understand. So that'll be interesting. I'm not sure what to expect here. All right. Well, I filled in the spots by the head that I knew I had to fill in. Let's go find that ribbon, because I gotta make a lot of that black, too. At the very least, I do feel like things are sitting on her okay. Her head feels considerably less awkward than it has in a long time. Thank you again, rubber duckies. Okay, yeah, let's get the... Oh, right, I still have the shoulder trim, too. Let's go ahead and get the shadows under her head the way I want. That's all kind of gonna get lost. Okay, I was right. It's not going to be that bad because most of it's just black. You know, I might actually finish this today. I'm actually a little surprised. Well, not that surprised. I thought that I would finish it soon, but, for some reason I thought it would take longer. But we're only like halfway through stream and I'm here. Man. Okay. Anyway, I want everything under the spoon to be black. I want there to be a shadow from this ribbon here. There needs to be a shadow from the hair. We'll show a hint of skin. Let's see, I think this will be kind of like this. I want the hair shadow to be a small distance away from the hair itself. Okay, and all of this is definitely in shadow. Everything over here around the hand, I think, is also going to be in shadow. Oh yeah, this is super easy so far. I guess I'm doing this part before I do the trim. That's fine. This is in shadow. I want some shadows from the hair here. And some from the arm here. Some from the frills here. So yeah, there's gonna be a little bit of a white spot there. Over here is gonna be like that. And I just need to clean up the edge of her chest there. Cool, I basically get to ignore the entire thing. Hell yeah. Art is wild. Okay. See, this is why I told my brain not to worry about it. I figured it'd be fine. Let's see. Oh, I gotta stretch. Ugh. I have thought long and hard about why I like to make things, and I do think when it comes down to it, it's all about expressing an idea in a form that I can actually let people understand. You know, I just rambled for a while on how hard a time I have just articulating myself. And it's true, I do. I find it very difficult. But when I draw it, it's there and everyone can see it. And it's very easy to understand a lot of the time. I mean, I can still be misunderstood, of course. Happens a lot. But it's all there, just out where it can be seen. So that's very satisfying. No one... But when I have a character design in my head, I just draw the design and now everyone can see it. And I think that's true for most things. In this case, it's not visual. Or, you know, in the case of writing a story or live streaming, I'll start with fiction for now. With fiction, rather than having it be all about a design or something like that. It's instead all about expressing an idea. I think fiction is an excellent place to talk about ideas. Way better than, like, politics and the like. No, nobody talks about politics to talk about ideas anymore. I think it's a bit of a shame, but, you know, it is what it is. Which is why I don't really like to waste my time with it. But fiction is an excellent place for that. And now I just kind of want to develop a similar opinion about what live streaming is good for. What does a live streaming express that nothing else can? If video games are all about expressing that story in an interactive fashion, expressing that idea in a way that people can touch and be part of, then what is it that live streaming does? What does it do that no other form of media can? What is it that I want to share with the world? What is in my head that needs to get out? It's quite the question. It really is. And I'm not sure how to answer it yet, so I'm doing my best. But I think it could also be a really good place to talk about ideas. I've talked about with my husband that if I can impart one idea to everyone watching me, it would be to not trust your brain. It's a liar, don't worry about it. Don't ignore it, but you don't have to act on everything you think or feel. Or you know that the world will try to make you feel powerless, and maybe in a lot of ways you are. Maybe you can't warp reality like you would like. But there's things you can do. I still stand by a comment that I made a while back of if you decide you really want to go to space, there are actions and steps you can take to make that happen. Maybe you'll succeed, maybe you won't. It's okay. But there are steps you can take to potentially make it happen. And I think your life is worth fighting for. I decided I wanted a little bit more shadow under this ribbon. Actually, I don't like the shadow on the index finger. The ones I just put in. This goes all the way out here, huh? You know, I kind of like it like that a little bit better, actually. We're gonna put a little bit less shadow on the hand. I want the hand holding the spoon to stand out a little bit better. Because I think the action of holding the spoon is actually pretty important to this picture. Okay, there we go. It does look a little bit broken now, though, so maybe just a touch more. Okay, there you go. That's a bit better. I was saying how a shadow underneath there looked, but no, I like this better. I think her chest looks pretty okay, so let's go put those last two layers on. One is this little sleeve thing that went on top of her arms, and I think on this arm it's actually not visible at all. It's going to be somewhere underneath these frills here, but over here it is, and it's kind of transparent. What does it look like? Do I have a good shot of the pattern on there? Kind of right here. What the hell is that even? I wonder if I can get a better shot of it out here on Google. Let me see if I can find a good one. Oh, that was pretty good. Okay. No, I can keep this super simple. Okay. I'm going to draw it from scratch. Here we go. So. She just has this tiny little sleevey sitting under the frills. I might need to draw this in hot pink first so I can see what I'm doing. You know what, let's do it. Okay, we're gonna do some hot pink here. So it's gonna kinda curve around her arm like this. And it's gonna come up and around and into the frill. And this one is just gonna kinda fade into her armpit. So I think that's fine. And how does this wrap around her arm? That's a good question. How does it work again? I don't like the shape. I'm gonna try again. So it's gonna sit kind of on top here. I'll leave a little gap for the line for the arm. And it's gonna come down. And it's gonna do frilly stuff. And then it goes in to the rest of her arm there. The other side. This is like the side of her chest. We'll have a part that kind of curves around the backside there. Brain is farting. It's okay. Give me a moment. How does this sit there? Why can I not think about it? Why can't I feel it? Life is hard. Art is hard. It needs to wrap around her arm here. How far down her arm does it go anyway? Yeah, it does kind of float around the armpit, and it actually is a little bit shorter up here than I gave it credit for. Kind of angles upward. And it'll go around the arm, and then come in here. No. And then, yeah, it connects to a piece of her shirt here. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. This makes sense to me now. Okay. Sorry, I just needed a second. Here we go. Okay, and then I just fade all of that in there. I don't think I need to draw the rest. And I'm going to smooth this out before I go and add the pattern. Because there's like a little lacy pattern, and like I was talking about yesterday, I really do like drawing lacy patterns. This is why I'm considering an art style that is basically all lacy patterns all the time. It'll be pretty fun. Okay, so let's get this nice and smooth. And from there, I can add the pattern freely. I'll probably do it on a new layer just to be safe. But I'll merge them down when I'm done. So yeah, for this, I think that the only things left are what I'm drawing literally right now, and the lacy patterns on her chest. And like the red trim on the sleeves and, you know, just minor details like that. But yeah, I think I'm all set to finish this today. Let's do it. Just get things done. It'll be fantastic. And then we can start the next one, which I stated last time was going to be Nitya Nil. She's going to be the only one that has some other parts of her body in there. Like, for most of these, I wanted them to be, like, roughly bust or waist up. And, I just had a good idea for a pose that I really liked for Nitya, since she is supposed to be a delinquent. I feel like you gotta do the delinquent pose, but that relies a little bit too much on the legs. But it's okay, she'll be leaning far enough forward that they're gonna be small and mostly behind her. Also, we'll have a baseball bat, naturally. Okay. I'm not going to worry about those little connecting lines that I drew there. I'm going to actually just kill them entirely, and I will add them with the rest of the lace. I actually don't think that the apron trim and stuff is going to have much to it, because most of that area is just black, and I think that will be true of the frills I draw. Or in this case, don't draw. So... yeah, just kind of on the final stretch here. Ooh, exciting. I'm always really happy to see a picture finished. Especially the live ones, honestly, because they do take a little bit longer, and it actually does take a little bit more effort on my part to make them happen. Since I have to do just a little bit more, it's not just a matter of scribbling to myself. I have to really go in and describe what it is that I'm doing, and all of that has been very helpful. Like I said, you guys are wonderful little rubber duckies. Clearly that should be the fan name. You are just all my little rubber duckies. And I will talk to you whether you're here or not. And you will help me solve all my problems. Because just your existence is that fantastic. Alright, there we go. I think that's fine for what it is. Let's go ahead. I will add a few little lines of fold. Just because I think it'll look nice. I think this one needs to come over a little further. There we go. That's a bit better. They'll all just be being pulled towards her shoulder. Kind of like this. I think that's good. What does the lace look like? I think it's just like a few lines And then some dots. So that's how I'll handle this. Just a few lines and then some dots. So this means I gotta draw some straight lines. Wish me luck. Not the straight lines. Please, anything but the straight lines. Okay, so there's that, and then... let's see. God, I really have no idea what to make of that. Let me see if I can find a bigger image of this. Okay. So with this, I should draw a paired line with it. I don't think it goes... yeah, it doesn't go into this part, so I will be a little bit more careful. Actually, before I do that, I kind of want to go smooth out what I have, and then I might do those other parts on another layer. Because, yeah, this is getting scary. I want to be able to erase freely. I need to extend these lines because they are on the boundary between frill and border. So they kind of function as both. At least that's the impression I get when I actually go and look at her design. So I want to kind of have them drawn like that as well. And it's kind of nice that since I have a bunch of extra time, I could just go ahead and take my time here. Maybe I'm going harder on this than I need to, but you know what? It's fine. I like going hard on things. It makes me happy. I just always like doing my best. Okay. Let's get that going behind, and then I just want to make this line a little bit more consistent in width. It gets a little bit thick in a few places, and I'd like to keep it about the same distance from the edge here. As much as I can. And like this guy is super duper thick, so I'm gonna make him just a little bit skinnier. There we go, that's much better. And it's fine that I kind of erased a few parts on this, that's totally okay. I will go back and correct that in a little bit. And then I think for the rest of today, I'm just gonna kind of, you know, chill out and have a nice time drawing the thing. And if I finish drawing it soon, we can do the Zatzadot without the extra steps. I think I've talked about most of what I want to talk about, though, so I considered the possibility that maybe I should have shorter streams. But at the same time, I kind of like the longer ones because they let me get more drawing done. And I do like to just draw the things, so it's a tough choice. But it can be kind of hard to keep up the talking to myself for 3 hours straight. Okay, so there we go. I think that's all about right. This will all be white when I'm done, but it's kind of hard to draw in white given some of the other stuff around it. So I'm just gonna finish it in hot pink, and then I'll go and add all the white parts. Or rather, I'll just go turn it white, and I'll figure out how to make it stand out against some of the white around it. Or, you know, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just let it become lost. I haven't decided yet. I get the feeling it will need to be separated. I think if I don't, it'll just end up looking a bit strange. Especially since I have such thick black lines around everything else. But like I said, I'm still learning a lot about this style. This is the first series that I've done with it. This is the second drawing. Also, now that I look at her shoulder there, I need to fix the shape of that little diamond. It's bothering me enough. It's just been sitting there taunting me. And I can't have that. No, that is extremely rude. So, as long as it's there taunting me, I gotta go put that little line in its place. It's fine. Okay. I do not want to attempt to draw a straight line anymore. I'm done. So I'm gonna do it like this. Much easier. Okay. I hear upstairs. It sounds like Grandma's here. Kids always get very excited to see their grandparents. I am eternally grateful that the grandparents live so close by. And that my kids are able to see them on a regular basis. Because when I was growing up, my grandparents lived like across the country. And so I had no relationship with them. I saw them occasionally, and when I did, they never really seemed interested in kids at all. So I just kind of stayed out of the way. But I'm really just very glad that my kids get to have a relationship with their grandparents. I think it's very healthy. And frankly, it makes my life a lot better too. Because raising kids is hard. Extremely hard. And having some other people that can share some of that burden. Who also care about them in the same way that my husband and I do. You know, not like a teacher who maybe cares about them a little bit. It's not the same as a parent. And I don't think a teacher is guaranteed to be on the kid's side. Not the slightest. But grandparents, they can be. And my kids' grandparents, they definitely are. So, it's very nice. I am grateful. Eternally. Alright, so now I'm just drawing some of the little dots that are kind of all over there, and then there's the one here that just kind of random lace shape. Normally I'd be drawing this with a bunch of curved lines, but, you know, curved lines are forbidden. So I'm trying to get the same kind of impression with a lot of straight lines. And it'll make more sense after I add some of the lines going through it the other way. So now I can add some of these crossed lines, and it'll be fantastic. I think it'll give the right impression. Yeah, it's a pretty wild lace pattern. I'm not even going to attempt to do it accurately. I'm just going to go for the right impression, and that is pure chaos. So I just want to make sure it's dense enough that it looks like the right thing. And so far so good, I'd say. I think that's pretty alright. And then I think it's just more dots. Yeah. And then a little bit going down her chest. I think we got another straight line here. I kind of want to go do that one first. All right, I should do this with my mouse, actually. There we go. Now it's the width I want it to be. There we go. Okay, so let's just do more dots here. I swear I like doing lace patterns. They are super time consuming, more than a little bit tedious, but man, do they look nice, and they are so no thoughts, head empty tier a drawing that I can basically be thinking about whatever I want, and I'll be able to actually think. I basically don't have to focus at all. I just let my hand do the work, and it's generally fine. I just gotta be careful that I fill them all in properly. Okay, then over here is also dots. And they are squares here, but due to curves being forbidden, I think squares give the same impression, just much straighter. So it'll all be good. It'll all be good. This is the last one. Well, I guess I probably will need to do a little bit in the armpit area too. Or not the armpit, but the part wrapping around. It's not exactly in the armpit, so. The armpit's on the other side. And then I can color it white and figure out what to do from there. That'll be something. I'm still not quite sure how I want to handle it. Yeah, we'll plop some dots in here. It'll be fine. It'll match everything else, and that's all it needs to do, so there we go. That got super uniform. That is a little unfortunate, but I don't really feel like fixing it, so I'm just gonna leave it like that, and I think that'll be okay. I don't think it needs to be anything super special. I just want to make sure they're all filled in. Okay. So there we go. Let me go back over each one and kind of touch them up a little. I don't I don't want them to feel too messy, of course. And while I am being super absent-minded, it's super easy to just, I don't know, gloss over the small things. See, some of them aren't really filled in properly, and if I use a stroke to outline that will be a problem. Because then there will be black in the middle of my white lace, and that's just no good at all. So I do want to make sure that they are mostly filled in properly there. But there we go, I think that's fine. Let's go ahead and make it white. Looks better just like that than I thought it would. Okay, let me do just a quick check here to see if I want to put a little bit of a line around it. I think I do. It's just going to be very thin. And yeah, the stroke looks basically the way I want it to. 2 pixels, I think is enough. And I think it gives the impression of the lacy sleeve. So I think that's perfect. All right. Done there. Do I have to kind of round out any corners or... Looks like I do have a couple of spots to fix. Are you locked? Where'd I put you? Okay. Oh yeah, it's like I said, there are some black spots kind of in the middle of my white lace, and that's just no good, so let's fix it up. Let's just fix it up. It'll help. I see some residue here that I need to get rid of. And just some small things like that. But as always, I do care about the details, so I like to fix these things. Especially when there's extra time. Okay. Okay, and I think that's about it. So that should be fine. Yeah, I think that's just fine. And now let's turn on my trim layer for the apron. And I can get in those red parts. And the few other parts that show. So like it looks like I have a little bit of frills here. Fortunately, the frills don't have any lace or anything on them, so I can just draw little frill shapes and all will be well. Okay. The very last thing. It's always exciting, a little bit strange feeling, maybe oddly melancholic. Let's see, the red doesn't go underneath, right? It's only on the top? Yeah, only on the top. That means we won't see it at all on those. So I can just kind of draw it through here. I'm going to leave it out of the black parts. So there's actually not very much at all to draw. Not at all. This is super simple. And then I guess after this, I'll do one last look to make sure I didn't miss any details on her outfit. And that'll be the end. And then it'll be time to move on to the next picture. There's no time to rest when there are many pictures to draw. I guess I'll let it stick into the darkness a little bit just to make it clear that it does continue. But otherwise, I think that this is all I draw on this side. Let's go put some black around it. The other side is all in dark, so I'm not going to draw anything on it. This is not very straight, so let's kind of fix that here. There we go. And I think that's perfect. So, yeah, this side I don't think gets any at all, because it's all just in darkness. So the last thing is just the frills going across her chest. And honestly, this is chaotic enough that I am strongly considering not drawing them, but I think it'll look good if I show just a little bit of it. So let's hide her head. That did not help. I guess I just gotta believe. We'll just draw some frill shapes and call it good. Same with over here. I'm just gonna draw some frill shapes and I'm gonna call it good. Because I don't know what's going on, but I do know that there's some frills around here. So we will acknowledge with super basic frill shapes, and that's it. There. Let's clean that up a little, because it is a little bit messy. But I think it serves its purpose, so I'll take it. I just kind of want to make them a little bit more angular. Get rid of all the curves in it. Okay. Oh, there we go. I think that's fine. I think that can kind of summarize the ones around here. And I think the one kind of coming down this side here is going to be like under her chest. So I don't think we really see it. So I think that's good. And then, you know, whatever the hell's going on around here aside, I think it looks pretty good. So, as always, I will sleep on this tonight. Let me go ahead and make it transparent, since that was the intention from the start. And I will sleep on this, take a look at it tomorrow morning, and then start putting together the time-lapse. And once that's done, I'll go ahead and upload it. But I think that is it. So let's see, we probably got like a good 30 to 45 minutes. What do I think? I'd like to get better at some fisheye perspective. So I'll probably do some stuff with that, but this time I might, or the next time I try it, I will probably go look for some reference. To get a better idea of how it works. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that for Nitya. It's like it's going to be a little bit. The perspective is still going to be extreme, but I don't think I'm going to go full fisheye on it. Fisheye kind of implies looking at it through a curved lens, and what it does is anything close to the focal point there will just look super duper close, super curved, and then everything goes far back away really fast, and the curves are strong, so it's entirely possible that this style just would not work very well with fisheye. Here, I'm gonna put down my tablet. Just because I refuse to use curves, so that might be part of it, and why I had so much trouble wrangling it. That actually seems reasonably likely. Okay, here, hold on. Excuse me for a moment. I really have to go use the bathroom. I will be right back for just, you know, a good 30 to 45 minutes of yapping. Give me just a sec. Okay, there we go. That feels better. It was getting hard to talk when I was being that distracted. So there we go. And I think I was talking about fisheye perspective, but I do think it's kind of neat. Just what you can do with perspective in general. And I would like to continue to work on that and just how far can you push something into the foreground and how far can you push it into the background before it just starts looking really weird and wrong and that kind of thing. I think it's kind of interesting. I remember it would have been a couple of years ago at this point, but I was starting to do similar things with expressions and just, okay, how far can I push the joy or the sadness or anything about in this expression. And, well, you can kind of see the result of that. I can push expressions pretty far now. And I want to do the same with distance and the rest of the body, because I think that can do really cool, stylish things. And I guess some part of me, yeah, just think about what I was talking about earlier and some things that I might want to do stylistically. How far can I push shapes? Can I make nice frilly teacup patterns look good on people, or that kind of thing? How far can I exaggerate the shape of a body before it just looks broken and terrible? How far can you push a spatial distance? And, you know, just how far can I exaggerate all of these things? To be fair, it's like the exaggeration is part of what made me like anime. I mean, it's the kind of thing that can exaggerate eating chips so heavily that it can make take a potato chip and eat it super dramatic. Like that is fantastic to me. And then I just remember that one thing that of anime rock paper scissors. Like, yes, that was incredibly anime. And I think that's one thing that I really, really like about the art style, of just that it's able to push things really, really hard. And ever since I started drawing things, I had been moving away from raw realistic accuracy to just how far can I push things before they break. And, you know, once again, you guys are fantastic rubber duckies. Because I had never quite realized that consciously. I mean, I had said it a few times. But now that I've connected these ideas together, it's like, yeah, I think that's something that I would like to do with my art. I think that there's other things too, because I don't think I want to completely give up the accuracy. I don't think I want to go into full-on semi-realism. But the next project I wanted to do after Leia Memoria was going to be a drawing of Katya Sable, where I analyzed the art style in Path to Nowhere. That'd be the mobile game. I don't really play it anymore, but I do find the art style in it gorgeous. And I would like to take a look and try to steal the artist's secrets. You know, as you do when you're an artist. You gotta steal everything you like. It's required. So that was what I planned there. I think I'm still going to do that because I've been kind of looking forward to it. I really want to do some nice dress design and stuff. But now I'm wondering if I even want to go that way. But, you know, this I think will be an excellent way to see if I like it, because I plan to do a low-key pose in a low-key setting. With some very nice light, because I can't say no to light. I know that I don't really like low-key light, so I will still keep that. But, we'll see how much more fun I have with that compared to some other things in my head, or what I'm doing with the style I'm doing Phase Saga herein. I do like this. And I think going back to something slightly more extreme in the other direction will give me a lot of information. I actually remember this happened a really long time ago. I was drawing some characters. And by this point, I had not fully embraced the anime. But I had gotten better at drawing anime faces. So I had this highly simplified face. And then I started drawing the clothes in the style I was used to, basically. And I just looked at her clothes and looked at her face, and there was this weird disconnect because her clothes were so much more detailed than anything else. I never finished this picture. Let me see if I can find it. I'll see if I can find it, and if I can, I'll bring it up on screen. Let's see. No, those are those ones. This is all gonna be that stuff. Because I don't remember where I saved it. Maybe here? doesn't look like it. Okay, but, oh man, it would be such a good example if I could find it, though. It is kind of wild seeing a bunch of unfinished stuff, especially when it's really, really old. Where did I put it? Yeah, that's not going to be original stuff. But yeah, I guess just to continue the story while I try to find it, the disconnect between the level of detail on her clothes versus her face really stood out to me, and I really disliked it. And that was one of the first times I really started to think about, okay, what is style? Why is this so bad? And that kind of thing. Why does this not work? Why is this such a problem? Why does it matter if the face is so much less detailed than the clothing? But no, it was absolutely a problem. Unfortunately, I can't find it. I don't remember where I put it, and oh man, that is so sad. That is honestly very sad. It would have been so nice to be able to find that. But I really can't find it. Well, shoot. Okay, well, I have no idea where I put it. Let me see if I can... I'll just, I'll try to search for it here. But yeah, even searching where I put all of my usual art. Or where I... Oh, no, I think this might be it. Okay, well, I'm gonna open it, and hopefully it's the right thing. Yes! This is what I was looking for. So this was from... Oh man, it must be from a good 10 years ago. And so I had this, this character. This was after adding a ton of detail to her face. And I just looked at what I was doing with her clothes and all the folds on it versus what I had on the face. And it just did not work for me. Yeah, this is back when I still did black and white underpaintings. Holy cow. Yeah, I can show you some old methods here. So what I would do, it looks like I kind of ended up coloring over things, but I would start with this black and white underpainting. And it looks like I kind of ended up beating it up quite a lot. And then from there, I would start adding the colors. Just, you know, my base colors and stuff. And then some more detailed shading and whatnot. And then I'd basically draw everything on one layer. So you can see I changed a lot here, and then apparently I did her hair on a different layer. So this is actually more layers than what I used to do. But yes. I guess before I rendered this face, I wonder if any of the other ones have some of the... Yep, that's how things started. Yep, and so you can kind of see the face is a lot flatter. Yeah, and I see I labeled this group color start. So I guess this is when I first started thinking about starting in color as opposed to black and white underneath. But yeah, that was the one, because I remember when I first drew this, I didn't have anything around her lips. I didn't have anything around her eyes. So the eyelids didn't look like this, and her face just looked incredibly flat, and it bothered me. It bothered me so much, because I didn't know what was wrong. I just was doing the same thing that I always did. And I just, you know, drew the clothes and stuff, drew things the way that I wanted. Go ahead and close that. And it just did not work. And so that's when I started thinking really hard about stylization. Because the disconnect between her face and the rest of her body just, oh man, did not work for me. But even here, it's like, I think that, you know, there's no disconnect here. Everything feels fine. Everything feels very unified. And I started caring about such things a lot. So this is why I kind of separate my styles a lot. I don't like to mix them. Because I just remember how bad it felt when I had one spot that was kind of more detailed, more realistic relative to everything else, and one spot that was super anime. So, for me, everything is a sliding scale of how detailed do I make it, how realistic do I get it, how soft do I make the edges, how hard do I make the edges, how much contrast do I use, and all that stuff. Oh, why did the shape get alpha? Whatever. Anyway, that was weird. That was a really interesting moment for me. And I mean, if you look at my model here, you can see that how I was drawing when I first drew this model is a little bit different than how I draw now. I don't draw a lot of things with softness anymore. A lot of my edges are quite hard. And I'm not sure if I think that's sad or not. I'm not sure how to feel about it. There are definitely a few things that I don't feel like I did very well with this model, but there are a lot of things that I think worked out pretty well. So, you know, who knows? It really is just going to be a matter of figuring out where I want to be going, and I do think that doing some more experiments with some softer, possibly more detailed styles will help me in that regard. And then doing some experiments where everything is shapes, and it doesn't matter whether or not it's realistic or not, or whether or not it makes sense. It's just all about the shapes. I think that's going to be good too. And, yeah. And I think it's pretty interesting, and so... hello there, James. Welcome back. I still like your bunnies. I think they're very cute. So, I think about those things a lot. And I do think that was the drawing that really got me to think about it. I do remember back when I was still firmly in semi-realism, I was running a role-playing forum, and I decided I wanted to try to draw every asset on the skin. And I think that was the first thing that got me to think hard about stylization, because I was like, okay, if I want to run a site where we mostly use anime pictures to represent our characters, I think I should make this look a little bit more anime, because otherwise people might get the wrong impression. So I tried to make it a little bit more anime, and that was my first step into proper stylization. And the image I just showed was the second, where I just noticed the huge disconnect in everything. And Yeah, so I'm in a state where I just gotta go try things. I gotta try things and see what happens. And at this point, since I want to be uploading painting shorts twice a week, not strictly speaking speed painting, I do tend to spend quite a long time on them, but regular short uploads, it's gonna be harder for me to experiment off stream. So you guys are gonna get to see all of my science, all of it. You get to see my stream science too, while I figure out, hey, what direction do I want to take my stream? You guys are just gonna get to see me put everything together in real time, and I'm a little terrified. Every other time that I've done these things, it has been largely in private, by myself. And now I'm doing it publicly. I don't have a lot of viewers, but it's still a little bit scary, especially since I don't intend to get rid of any VODs. People are gonna get to probe into my history. But you know, I've been doing the same thing with my art ever since I started uploading to the internet. I still have every drawing I ever uploaded to DeviantArt up there. I have never gotten rid of anything. I don't intend to, ever. I like having my history up there clearly. But nonetheless, it's a little bit scary. Because I know I'm not going to get it right the first try. In fact, I don't know what's going on here. Oh no, I know what's going on there. Never mind. That's actually fine. Let's get this back up there. But I have thoughts. I have too many thoughts, and I kind of need to narrow things down a little bit. It's all good. I think it's interesting. I think it's pretty interesting to do so. I'm considering if I want to move this ribbon to the left. Like, I'll have to fix all the shading around it, of course, but, nah, it's fine where it is. Okay. The pose is just really weird, and sometimes things look like they're a little off-center when they're actually not, and it's all very complicated, I assure you. But, it's all good. I will say that I do think streaming has helped my art and my thought process a little bit. So I've been describing the viewers as rubber duckies, and, well, thank you very much. I like it. I think it came out pretty okay. But yeah, I talked a little bit about the rubber ducky style of programming, where just explaining what's going on in your code to a rubber ducky will often let you find whatever bugs are in it and whatever is holding you up. And I think the same thing is true for art, where just rambling about it, you'll be like, oh, so that was the problem, nice. And it'll all just suddenly make sense. So, just the act of me coming on stream and insisting that I keep talking and I don't stop, and I come up with other things to talk about, and a lot of the time that was exactly what I'm doing in the moment. It's like, lately, especially while rendering, I do try to come up with some other topics before stream, and whatever else happens to be on my mind. But for a while, and especially when I'm just starting, I actually, try to describe what I'm doing and the thought process behind it. And it has drummed up so many things I would have never thought of. It pulled so much from my subconscious out to my conscious, so that this way I can actually be aware of these things and use them to my own ends, instead of just guessing effectively. And it has been immensely helpful. So, even if you're just streaming to yourself, even if you're just recording to yourself and you delete the recording afterward, just the act of talking while drawing and making sure that you're filling in all the time, and that you're not having long periods of silence, can be extremely helpful, I think. And I think it might even apply to more than just art. Like, where I first heard about it was with programming. So, that would be the first thing. But the fact that it applies here, I think it might work for most things. So, I'll be trying that with more things. I'm not sure if I can do it while writing, because that sounds like a recipe of me saying one word and me trying to type another word, and then suddenly I either start saying what I'm typing, or I start typing what I'm saying. And I'm not sure if I can uncross my wires from that. But, you know, when I'm done writing, I can still either journal, so just write to myself, or just start talking after that, I guess. Well, we'll see what I can do with it. I did a little bit of rambling about what I want to do for future bits of streaming, why I like streaming, and a lot of these other things. And, I mean, I just gotta see where those ideas take me. I think streaming has the potential to be extremely interesting. I feel like a lot of people don't do a lot with it. It's just something that you come on and do. I mentioned that the reason that I kind of bounced off of VTubers in the first time I saw them was because I felt like it was girls leading into cute girls doing cute things, which I don't have much interest in, playing video games that they don't really care about. Like, maybe some of them do have a genuine gaming hobby, but it never goes beyond that. Just small hobby is about as close as you get, for the vast majority. Ah, I see. I guess it depends on what kind of mental break you're talking about. Are you talking about... I see. Okay, so probably the bad kind. I was gonna say, mental breaks can also just be, you know, taking a quick rest from something. But it can also imply having your mind broken. So, yes. You know, that's a good enough, as good a reason to paint as any. Okay, this is a slight change of subject, but something I talked about with my husband recently was, we were observing the state of modern media, and we kind of came to the conclusion that the best art probably arises from pain. And that a lot of the reason modern media is perhaps kind of mid a lot of times is because the people that get put in these high positions are put there because they know someone, or because they have a lot of money that they can invest in it and that kind of thing. And that means that they're probably, yeah, they're probably people that have not experienced much suffering and hardship in their life. At least comparative to the people that generally make really good stuff. And I think there's something to that. So, you know, don't worry. When I think about some of the people that are making me think really hard about what streaming can do. One of the bigger ones that I've been watching lately is Midas and Katya Sable. And Midas got her start just ranting into the microphone, of just having a major crash out, getting really annoyed with the world, and using the Midas character as just a way to rant into the microphone about everything that she was super pissed off about. And it just happened to really resonate with people. And she made some pretty awesome stuff with that, and I think it's still translating into with her Katya character as well. So that was literally it, and that was born of just bad things happening in her life and things not going very well for her. So, you know, I do think it's like that. To an extent, it's why I started streaming too. It's just, I didn't rant into the microphone. I tried to be Bob Ross, and that didn't work very well for me. I'm not wholesome enough. I'm not nice enough. I'm okay with this, though. It's pretty hard to be more wholesome than Bob Ross. I just arbitrarily decided, you know, if I'm going to be drawing at this time anyway, maybe I'll try streaming it. He was. But, yeah. He was a guy. Man, hold on. I got something really stuck in my throat. Oh yeah. It's like he was the guy. He had a thing he wanted to do and he went and did it and it was fantastic. And I am someone different. I think it was fine for me to try to be Bob Ross-esque at the beginning. I think a lot of where people get started is by imitating other people. And I didn't have a lot of VTuber influence at that point, because I didn't watch that many VTubers when I started. Like I said, I kind of bounced because I just wasn't super into idol stuff or cute girls doing cute things. And so it took me a little while to kind of find my own voice there, and I still don't think I have. I still don't think I've completely found it. I'm still working on it, but I'm a step closer, and imitating Bob Ross was a part of that journey. And I just realized I couldn't do it. I'm not nice enough. I'm not kind enough. I don't even mean this as an insult to me. It's hard to be nicer, more wholesome, more kind than Bob Ross. Like, he was an exceptional dude. It's like saying I'm not as smart as Einstein. Like, yeah, that's not an insult. So I'm still kind of figuring out where I'm going with this. And well, that's where all the science comes in. And as for people, yeah. Well, you know, that's probably where some of his art came from. I mean, I was just talking about how the best art probably comes from a degree of suffering, so. And the things that turned him into an exceptional person probably came from a lot of hardship. I don't think it can be exceptional without a lot of it. That's why I say you shouldn't avoid suffering. Go run headfirst into it, as long as it's worth it, I should say. You know, you don't want to randomly set yourself on fire. That would not lead to good outcomes. But if you have to run through it to get to something good on the other side, you know, maybe it's worth it. I don't think it's something to be feared. Just something to be cautious of. Also, in regards to people needing each other, that is a thing that I've thought of for a while. Because I was like, do people need each other? Strictly speaking, the conclusion I came to was no. We do not absolutely need each other. And I think that a lot of our society is reflective of that. But they do make our lives better. And I think society is reflective of that too. Because I think that one of the ways people can grow is by interacting with other people. That's how our ideas spread and mix. And how we are able to create new ones. Because there are very few unique ideas out there. But when you mix two together, you can get something kind of cool. And one of the easiest, and in my opinion, most effective ways to grow as a person is to start spreading your ideas with other people and to start looking at what ideas that they have. And kind of mixing it with your own view of the world. And I think it's good. So do we strictly need them? No, we would survive without. But I think our lives are a lot richer with them. And I could sit here and just draw on my own, never show anyone anything I make. I could never look at what anyone else does. And I would still create art. It would not stop me. But I don't think my art would be as effective. I don't think I would have as much fun. And I think I'd be missing out on a lot. So, you know, whether or not we need them, I don't care. I think it's better. I went through a phase with this for a pretty long time where I was about ready to, if I didn't have kids, I probably would have moved to the middle of the Himalayas and never interacted with anyone again. Except my husband, perhaps. That was real thoughts that went through my mind. And I just came to the conclusion that no, I don't actually think I want to do that. I don't think I want to live entirely separately from people. I don't think it's worth it. Or more accurately, I think people are worth the trouble. I think that's a good way to put it. So, I think harm to others is pretty much inevitable. When you interact with people, it's pretty easy to do it unintentionally. I've had a couple of people come on here and think that I just absolutely hate them when I am often neutral to positive. It's like I did nothing. And this happens a lot. I have a lot of people asking me, hey, are you mad at me? And I'm like, no. Just because humans have a tendency to attribute neutral stimuli to negative stimuli. It's bizarre. People have a very huge negativity bias. In that you can go to a restaurant 100 times, and it's fine. You get food poisoning once, you'll never go there again. Because you'll remember. So it's strange. Relationships are just hard. People are hard. Hard is hard. It's okay. And I do genuinely think it's okay. Well, I should probably head out, but yeah, that was interesting. Thanks for stopping by, James, and humoring my rambling. I always hope that, especially recently when I've been trying to think about more of what I want to do, that I can bring about some interesting things and hopefully bring some interesting ideas into people. So, yeah, I did get my 2 shorts up this week if you're interested in watching speed paints, and there'll be 2 more next week, at least, unless I decide to do more. And I had a thing I want to draw. It is unrelated to anything I talked about here, anything stylistically, so I'm just going to draw it, and I'm not going to care. Not every drawing has to be about learning, and I've got something I want to do, so there we go. The next 3, I think, are going to be interesting. So, looking forward to that, and if you'd like to help me get adopted by the YouTube algorithm, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff, I'd appreciate it. That is something you can do to help me very directly. I want to be noticed. I want the world to see me. I was pretty fine with being invisible for a while, but I gotta come out of my little hidey hole and force myself to people. I'm doing my best. People are scary. But yeah, that's where I will that's where I will stop for today, so thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. And you know, maybe I hope that your life is a little bit hard sometimes. Just a little bit. It'll make your art better. Go, it'll help you make the wonderful thing. So go do your best. I'll see y'all tomorrow.